Movie review number 1377 is 28 Years Later. 28 Years Later is a 2025 movie directed by Danny Boyle, who also directed 28 Days Later. So this movie is from Sony Pictures, Columbia Pictures, and TSG Entertainment. I saw this movie on July 10th, 2025 at AMC West Chester 18 in West Chester, Ohio. So this movie takes place after the events of 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later. But this time it is 28 years later. 28 years after the first outbreak of the virus began from the first film. So, it's been almost 3 decades since the rage virus escaped from a biological weapons laboratory and infected millions of people around the continent and around the world. Still living in a ruthlessly enforced quarantine, some have found ways to assist amid the infected. One such group of survivors lives on a small island connected to the mainland by a single, heavily defended causeway. When one of them decides to venture into the dark heart of the mainland, he soon discovers a mutation that has spread to not only the infected, but also to other survivors as well. Wow. So this movie has Alfie Williams as Spike, who is Jamie and Isa's 12-year-old son. Jodie Comer portrays Isa, who is Jamie's wife, who is battling a mysterious illness. Aaron Taylor Johnson portrays Jamie, a scavenger and Ira's husband. Ralph Fiennes portrays Dr. Ian Kelson, who is a former doctor and survivor of the outbreak. Evan Rydring portrays Eric Sundqvist, a Swedish soldier. Chi Lewis Perry portrays Samson, who is a physically imposing alpha leader of the infected. Christopher Forford portrays Sam, who is a friend of Jamie's and a resident on the island. Stella Garnett portrays Jenny, another member of the island's leadership council. And Jack O'Connor portrays Sir Jimmy Crystal, the leader of the Jimmy Savile Aspire Jimmy Court, and a survivor of the original outbreak. So, like I said, this movie takes place nearly 3 decades after the first rage virus began from a laboratory. When a chimpanzee got a hold of this rage virus, and some protesters let the chimp free, but the chimp kind of attacked them, and it spread throughout person to person to person, from country to country, and throughout the world. Almost 3 decades later, there have been several small communities around the globe trying to stay away from the infected. We see one of these particular small groups living on a small island, and they have figured out a way to stay away from the infected. They have like a gate, and as long as they won't let anybody in, they will be safe. Well, this father and son goes out into the mainland where the infected are, because the father would like to train the son how to fight and kill. Well, he does, and it proves successful. But then the son decides to go back out into the mainland after his mother is dying from a mysterious illness, and he believes that there is a doctor out in the mainland that could cure her. So he goes out into the mainland and tries to search for this doctor. He knows that they are infected around them. He knows that they are infected everywhere, and he's trying to stay away from them. Based on his father's training skills, this boy is trying to figure out how to get to this doctor and save his mother before it's too late. While also trying to um, not be discovered by the infected. And this boy is named Spike. So, like I said, this movie takes place at the events of 28 Days Later and 28 Weeks Later. but it's been nearly 3 decades since the events of 28 Days Rail. It is pretty interesting how the events of 28 Days Rail and 28 Weeks Rail affected the events of 28 Years Rail. Days became weeks, and weeks became years. So I won't exactly say what happens, but I will say this movie is quite different from the other two. It does feature a zombie outbreak, but not in the same style or format as in the other two. In this movie, the zombie outbreak doesn't happen in this small community of people. It happens in the mainland, outside the island. And Spike must figure out how to get to this doctor and save his mother before they become part of the infected. So, I have heard before the release of this movie that they are working on a new trilogy of movies starting with 28 Years Later. They actually have a second one, 28 Years Later Part 2, The Bone Temple, coming out January 2026, and then a potential third film. By the way, you will hear what the Bone Temple is in 28 Years Later, but I just won't tell you due to spoilers. But it probably will set up the events of the next film. So that would be neat to see. I enjoyed this movie. I thought it was pretty good. So that's my movie review of 28 Years Later. Please enjoy from this movie review. Alright, goodbye.